Christopher Eccleston. Fantastic. Why did you have to leave, Chris? Why did he have to leave? Fantastic. Anyway, distressing pop vinyls aside of the amazing Ninth Doctor, fantastic. Fantastic. That aside, we are doing an overview of Series 1 of the new series, the original, so to speak, and easily regarded as the best series of Doctor Who. So yeah, here I am today to ramble on again about Doctor Who. Who'd have thunk it? And about the first series. And for those of you who aren't aware, I've done my thoughts on also in this sort of weird series. I've done my thoughts on Series 5 and Series 7, so I have yet to cover either Series 8 or 9, but then again I haven't even reviewed Series 9 as a whole, or individually, episode-wise, just because it'd mean that I'd have to rewatch it, and that'd be tiring. And then Series 8, I have reviewed, separately, what my thoughts were on the overall story arc and what my thoughts were on, top 3 episodes, bottom 3 episodes, and the overall story arc and the packaging of the product and all that. But I've not covered any of the David Tennant era, probably because in terms of the modern series, or just in terms of all Doctor Who, from First Doctor to current 12th Doctor, I genuinely think the 10th Doctor is probably the era that I least rewatch. And I think that's maybe a contributing factor to when I do very rarely these days rewatch his era. I think, oh my god, his episodes are amazing! And it's like, well, yeah, but to be fair, that was when Doctor Who, at least the modern series, was in its heyday, Let's think of the Ninth Doctor in this case being the Third Doctor, and then so this is like the John Pertwee years. Then, you've got your David Tennant being, the Fourth Doctor, and then, Peter being the 11th in this case, and then the 6th Doctor being Capaldi, which is a fair enough way to compare it, because, a lot of people are saying that they don't like the era of the 12th Doctor. But anyway, I'm going on a tangent, and I'm here to talk about Series 1. Absolutely love Series 1. It flows so well. It's got an amazing bunch of, episodes. I know a lot of people in the Doctor Who community / fandom say that it's overrated, and yeah, but so far have we really got better than Series 1 in the new series? Purely in the new series, not the comic books that Titan Comics do, not the Big Finish stuff that they've recently done with David Tennant, none of that stuff, just purely from Series 1 to Series 9, have we actually got better than, Series 1? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, this is easily the series that I think is the most fluid, the most consistent, most coherent, and easiest to watch, out of all of the modern series, which is insane considering in retrospect, I've only just figured this out, but I'd say about 80%, maybe even 90% of this is all written by Russell T Davies. Think about it. Rose, let me just get this out so I can see the back better. Rose, Russell T Davies. End of the World, I think, was Russell T Davies. Unquiet Dead, Mark Gatiss, so that's one of the writers. So Mark Gatiss. Dalek, Robert Sherman. Long Game was Paul Cornell, Stephen Moffat, and then Russell T Davies. So yeah, there was 5 writers, but then, technically 4 writers and 1 head writer. That's insane. To relaunch a whole new series on that alone is mental. But it worked. It worked because, you've got the amazing Chris Eccleston, who is a sensational actor, is amazing, and, it's a shame that we only got the 1 series, but again, like the Who Addict said recently with our review of Father's Day, less is more, maybe, quality over quantity. You've got Rose, which introduces the Doctor Who to a whole new audience, a new generation like myself. You've got End of the World, which is just a really good sort of set piece CGI-wise. In retrospect, yeah, it's a bit dodgy, but Unquiet Dead, which is easily one of Mark Gatiss' strongest stories to date, and I don't think he's got any better since then. Paul Cornell with Father's Day, sensational. You know, yeah, I think I gave it maybe a 7 or a 6, but still, I love that story. It is probably one of the weaker stories of this series. If I had to pick a weak story, it'd probably be maybe Father's Day or Long Game. But I don't know, I think it gets a lot of flack and critique from people because it's just set on Earth and it's kind of just sort of soppy sort of drama. But it does have its Doctor Who element to it, or the Doctor Who twist to it, so it's not just completely a drama and that. But a lot of Series 1 in retrospect is set on Earth, and I think I can just about excuse that because, you know, as a viewer back then, you know, that was new to me. You know, the whole show was new to me, and so that really eased me in, you know, to it. Whereas with Series 3 and 4, I think by then we should have really gone into space a lot more and done a lot more extravagant things, whereas we weren't. We were still sometimes coming back to Earth, and I think then again, a lot of people have critiqued the Stephen Moffat era for saying, oh, well, we don't go to Earth as much and we're always just in space and that means that I can't relate to this and blah 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 and it's boring now. And it's like, it's finding that balance between Earth and being a bit of a drama and a bit of a soap and doing the sci-fi, because there are people who like the sci-fi elements of Doctor Who and the time travel aspects, and some people just like the drama of it all. Boomtown is pretty weak as well, but then you've got superb stories like Dalek. Oh my god, that is amazing, amazing storytelling. Yes, it's a sort of retelling and an adapted version of Jubilee from Robert Sherman, but even so, it fits the Ninth Doctor so very bloody well. You know, him screaming at the Dalek was just insane to me. You know, and the idea that the Doctor was so, you know, this man who was, prior to Dalek, never feared anything, was brought to his emotional knees, on an emotional level was brought to his knees, scared me the living daylights out of me, you know, because it's like, are you freaking kidding me? This is the Doctor we're on about. The Doctor. You know, a Time Lord who has lost all of his people because of this pepper pot and is raging at it, and then is also like, wait, what? You think I'd make a good Dalek? Wait, what? You're just a Dalek on your own, just kill yourself, you know. He's like there, just like, why don't you just die? You know, and then Bad Wolf Parting of the Ways, that is just epic. That is just, you know, movie status for me. In terms of Doctor Who, that is cinematic movie-like stuff right there. You know, it's got so many twists, so many turns, Daleks killing people on a massive scale. Yes, Dalek just had the one Dalek being a badass. This had lots of Daleks being a badass, and the Emperor Dalek. You know, Empty Child Doctor Dances. You know, Empty Child was actually the first story I ever watched. Superb. You know, it didn't speak down to me. It's dark. It's eerie. I can so imagine the Empty Child and Doctor Dances working so well with maybe Tom Baker and maybe even McGann in an audio two-parter, but excluding, you know, in his adventure series, but excluding those two Doctors, I think besides those two Doctors, I think it really does work with this Doctor. You know why? Because at the end of the day, he was grumpy, he was dark, he was not dark per se, he was just battle-worn from the war, you know. And after, I think after Doctor Dances and the Empty Child Doctor Dances, that's when the Doctor, the Ninth Doctor at least, becomes more friendly and a bit more, you know, emotionally open, you know, and I like that because that's when we get the more funnier side of him. And yeah, okay, a lot of people have said Chris Eccleston can't do funny comedy, but I don't think Chris Eccleston sort of believes that he can do that himself, and therefore he doesn't pick it up as well and run with it. But then the drama and the dark and the really aggressively, you know, dialogue heavy written stuff, he can just eat it up and chew it back out and spit it back out like, you know, like reams of dialogue he could just read off, you know, and that, you know, the end of the Doctor dance is superb, and I love it, you know, when the Doctor finally he gets a victory, just one day, everybody lives, you know, he deserves that, especially in the context of this Doctor, he deserves that because he's been through so much shit, you know, the 8th Doctor being the Doctor who, for the most part, spoiler alert, lost most of his companions, then he goes into a warrior of a Doctor, and now he's the 9th Doctor, and he's like, you know, at the beginning he's even like, you know, the world spins around and all that, and that, you know, sometimes we're on the surface of this earth, and then we let go. And that's who I am, Rose Tyler. So go home. And then just walks off, and then that amazingly eerie ambient music plays. That's the Doctor. At least that's the Doctor for the 21st century. You know, this mysterious mystique. There's this mystique and mysteriousness about him, and I think it let the fans who watched the classic series and us, the modern fans, be on the same page as well, you know. I think if he'd have just been the Doctor from the out-go, it'd have been a bit of a shame, because other people would have been like, oh yeah, that's the Doctor I know, he's got 2 hearts, he's from Gallifrey, and blah blah blah, and all this, and I'd have been like, wait, what? Like, spoiler alert, I don't know all this. But because of the invention of the Time War, we were all a bit like, this is a new Doctor for the new age, for the new times. You know, a lot of people have critiqued his costume, being like, oh, it's too basic, it's too boring. But I like that. I think it works because he is this sort of stripped back, aggressive, sort of blunt, arrogant, to the point Doctor, but then becomes a bit softer and a bit nicer. He is like the first Doctor, for lack of a better word. The first Doctor was aggressive, alien, blunt, aggressive, well, not aggressive, but blunt, brash, and not very nice, but became nicer as he'd been more exposed more to more companions. And this is the same with the 9th Doctor, when he's, you know, by Boomtown, when he's with Mickey, Rose, and Captain Jack, he's a lot more nicer than he was, say, in Unquiet Dead, or even, you know, Aliens of London or World War III. You know, Unquiet Dead, I love that. That's atmospheric and dark as well, you know. There are some weak stories, again. Maybe End of the World is a bit okay. Maybe Aliens of London, World War III is so-so from what I remember. But, you know, just, I think it's because the story arc just flows. It's basic, it's coherent, it's nice, it's seamless, it works. The characterization of the characters, the stories we get, and the episodes we get, and the overall story arc being so seamless and so easy to pick up for a novice or for an expert of Doctor Who, makes this series the best series in the new series, in the modern era. So yeah, thanks for watching. Comment what you think of Series 1 and subscribe.